Ladies and gentlemen, this is William Cooper, and Alan Weiner has asked me to take the microphone on this probably worst day in the history of the entire world. For what we're witnessing now today is most probably the herald of at least the redefinition of freedom, and most probably its death. Can you imagine the absolute, well, I guess you can, because you're probably as shocked as the rest of the world. And I can assure you that the entire world is affected by this. There are probably at least over 5,000 people dead. At least. Minimum. It could be as high as 10 or 20,000 or even more. You see, 50,000 people work in the World Trade Center buildings, and both of them first had aircraft, large commercial type aircraft, crash into them intentionally, and then both of the towers have come down, collapsed upon themselves. The Pentagon, where tens of thousands of people work also, another commercial type aircraft has crashed into the Pentagon. Another one, and it's only a guess, was maybe trying to reach Camp David, has crashed before it reached its target. There is speculation that there may be other airplanes in the air headed toward targets elsewhere in the country. All airports, for the first time in the history of this nation, are closed. All government buildings in Washington, D.C., including the White House, have been evacuated. All government officials, members of Congress, members of the United States Senate, White House staff have gone to their underground hard sites. The military has been deployed in Washington, D.C. Several state governors have called up the National Guard. You can expect at any time a declaration of martial law nationwide. And when that happens, there could be terrible consequences. Governments, when they're attacked like this, lash out at whomever they perceive to be their political enemies. You can expect that if anyone, anywhere is foolish enough to take credit for this attack, our military forces will be deployed to wipe them off the face of this earth. Now, folks, I'm going to remind you of what happened right after the Waco incident and then the Oklahoma City bombing. The press and the government, without any reason whatsoever, attacked American patriots and members of the militia nationwide. For that reason, I must tell you that all known patriot leaders in this country, even though patriots have had nothing whatsoever to do with this, and members of the militia, need to go underground immediately. Take steps to protect yourselves from arrest, persecution, armed attack, whatever may come out of this. It is absolutely necessary that you do this. This is not some weird thing that's going on here. This is a major terrorist attack upon the entire nation, upon the entire country, folks. And so we must take steps to protect ourselves. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello?
Bill?
Yes, you're on the air.
It's Robin. Can you hear me?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine. Do you know what's happening, Robin?
Oh, sure.
Well, we're on the air with a worldwide broadcast right now.
Oh, you are?
You're on the air.
Should I call you later?
Well, I'm going to be on the air maybe all day and all night. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are you on the air right now?
Yes, you're on the air. I've said it 3 times.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. I understand. Are you all right?
Yeah?
Is anything,
Yes, they're talking about lots of bomb threats here in Atlanta.
has anything happened in Atlanta?
No, they're telling people to take their kids out of school, and they've been bomb threats, and they closed the IBM building, evacuated it, and closed CNN, and that's all I know so far.
Okay, just remember that every wacko in the world is going to take this opportunity to try and cause chaos, in addition to the real threats that
Think that's going to declare martial law everywhere?
I expect that to happen at any moment.
Really?
Yes.
Should we get out of the city now?
I've been warning you for years. That's the worst place to be if there's a declaration of martial law.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I'll call you later.
Okay, Robin.
Okay,
Take,
bye-bye.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye. Folks, please don't call in unless I open the phone. Right now, we're going to go to the feed from CNN and listen to that for a few moments and just keep you up to date. But before we do that, listen very carefully, folks, to me. You've got to listen very carefully to me. You must not do anything at all that can be misinterpreted by anybody that you're a part of any of this. I don't care who you are. Take steps to protect yourselves and your loved ones, particularly if you are known patriot leaders or members of any militia. You saw what happened after the Oklahoma City bombing. No militia members, no patriots in this country were involved in any way with what happened there or with what happened in Waco. But the media and the government attacked militia members and American patriots viciously. And you can expect that that may be one of the outcomes of what has happened today. Also, would ask that all of you please say prayers for all of the people who have died or been injured or wounded in this terrible attack upon our country, and for their families. The casualties are going to run into many thousands, ladies and gentlemen. And there's going to be some terrible repercussions from this, although we don't know exactly what those repercussions are going to be based upon past experience. We can expect some kind of attack upon American patriots and militia members. And we've been expecting this for many years. This is not something that has just come right out of the blue. So make sure that you do that. Good. You're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Bill, this is Doyle.
Hi, Doyle.
Hey, I just was watching where Hoover Dam and State Route 93 were closed down completely.
Okay.
Now, I just wanted to let you all know.
Okay.
It was tentative earlier, and now they've done it officially, Arizona Department of Transportation.
Okay, we can expect that all potential targets, military targets of any kind, are going to be blocked off so that nobody's going to be able to get near them, and that includes major dams like Hoover Dam and all the dams in the country are probably going to be isolated. Military installations are probably going to be closed to all civilian traffic, and you can expect probably roadblocks on the major highways.
Yes, yeah, Yeah, and they did finally verify. This is on the Arizona News. They just broke into the National that it is State Route 93 is closed officially, and all of Hoover Dam and all that.
Okay, thanks, Noel.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty. Bye.
Folks, if you have reports from your area that are not appearing on the news of what's happening, call 520-333-4578. Now, here's something that you've absolutely got to pay attention to. I don't want to hear any rumors. I don't want to hear anything that's unsubstantiated. I don't want to hear anything that's passed through 2 or 3 people. If you absolutely know of something that's happening that the people in this country and the world need to know, call me and report it. Don't report rumors. Don't report anything that comes over your fax machine. Don't report anything that you hear from Alex Jones or any of his ilk. The only thing that I want to hear about are facts that you can either document or prove, or that you yourself are an eyewitness to, or that may be reported on your local media that is not reported on the national media. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a major attack not only upon the United States of America, but upon freedom. The outcome of this will redefine the word, and I suspect that freedom will no longer mean what it used to mean after this day. It will probably be redefined as freedom is whatever the law allows you to do. Rights are going to disappear, ladies and gentlemen. You see, I'm going to tell you this. When I was in the United States Air Force, this could not have happened. We had fighter planes on alert all over this country that would intercept and shoot down, if necessary, any aircraft that was flying in an airspace where it was not supposed to be, or that was flying into this country unidentified. That was taken care of through NORAD, North American Air Defense Command, out of Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado. Apparently, we no longer have that fighter air protection in this country. And one of the reasons why might have been so that something like this could happen. This is another step toward world totalitarian socialist government. And the outcome, the offshoot, I can guarantee you, is going to be legislation and laws coupled with martial law, and we can expect martial law nationwide to be declared sometime today. If it doesn't happen, it will sure shock the hell out of me. And it may already be in effect for certain areas of the country without public announcement. For instance, troops, United States Army units, have been deployed in Washington, D.C.
To repeat for emphasis, John Roberts, that the President will be on videotape from Barksdale Air Force Base. Certified with their
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you for certain, due to my experience on the command staff of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet during my service in the United States Navy, I can tell you now with the announcement that the border between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Canada have been closed. All aircraft across the nation have been grounded. All airports have been closed. A regiment of troops of the United States Army has been deployed in Washington, D.C. All government buildings have been closed. All government officials are now officially either ensconced in their underground protected hard site headquarters and command centers, or are on the way to those sites. And because of that, I can assure you, with no hesitation whatsoever, that martial law has already been declared nationwide in secret. No public announcement has been made, but that's the only way that these things can happen and are happening, is if the President has in fact issued a declaration of martial law nationwide for reasons that I don't know. This has not been announced to the public, but anybody who would be surprised at hearing that there is a state of national martial law in place right now nationwide Anybody that would be surprised at that, I'd have to say, isn't playing with a full deck of cards. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you this absolutely for sure. There will be serious repercussions, not just here but worldwide. You can expect military action to be taken against the suspected or known source of the people who carried this out imminently, wherever that source may be. I can tell you that if it's suspected that anybody in this country had anything to do with it, there may be strikes launched against known Patriot leaders and American militia units, even though I can assure you, because I am in contact with these people all over this country, that no American Patriot or militia unit would ever, in their wildest dreams, attack the Pentagon, Camp David, or the World Trade Center towers. If the militia were to attack anyone, it would have been the United Nations building. None of these other targets would even occur to any American patriot or any militia as a target in any attempt to restore constitutional Republican government in this country. So, and I have no idea who carried this out, but I know exactly why these attacks were launched. They need excuses, ladies and gentlemen, not just here, but worldwide, to continue to pass laws to strip people of their rights and of their freedoms and to disarm people in order to bring the world under the umbrella of a world totalitarian socialist government. As you can see, this indicates that if terrorists want to strike somewhere, there's not much you can do to stop it. Now, there was a lot of things that we could have done to stop these particular attacks, and years ago, the mechanism was in place so that these things could not have happened. And you can be assured of that. Anybody who served in the United States Air Force with the North American Air Defense Command, either in the headquarters in Cheyenne Mountain or with the many fighter units that were stationed at air bases all across this country that had alert aircraft sitting on the runway ready to take off at a moment's notice should anybody try anything like this. It's incredible that the government knew that all of these aircraft had been hijacked. They knew this. They knew it. And they are able to monitor on radar where these aircraft are flying. Just the sheer number of aircraft that were all hijacked at the same time should have indicated to the government that something terrible was going to happen, and they should have had fighters in the air to intercept and shoot these planes down. Why they didn't is a question that's going to have to be asked, and somebody is going to have to answer those questions. Anyone who had been on the inside, who knew that so many planes had been hijacked all at the same time and didn't try to do anything about it, or didn't understand that these planes might have been hijacked in order to fly into American targets as terrorist acts, should never have been in any position in our government of any kind of official capacity whatsoever, because that should have been an obvious indication that these things were imminent. And by imminent, I mean as soon as all those planes were hijacked at once, they should have known something like this was going to happen. We'll take your phone calls, 520-333-4578 from across the country. If you have something to report that is not being reported on the major news, we need to hear about it. We don't want to hear about rumor. We don't want to hear anything that's unsubstantiated. If something's going on in your local area that is not being broadcast on the national news, we need to hear about that. There are rumors flying all over the country. Right here in this valley, the Round Valley in Arizona, Eager and Springerville, some people are in a full panic. We have reports of people calling their homes and telling their spouses to take their children out of school because the school's going to be bombed. Those reports are false. There is no indication whatsoever, if you're listening in the Round Valley, that anyone in this valley is in any danger from anyone at all. There is no threat to the schools. There is no threat to any government buildings here. In fact, there is no threat at all in this valley. So if you're listening and you're afraid that those things are going to happen here, the thing that you better fear is if troops show up to enforce martial law. There's no reason why they should come to this valley, but it's not out of the question. 520-333-4578 is the number. Once again, it is obvious. It is obvious that a declaration of martial law has been declared nationwide. All airports have been shut down. All airplanes are grounded. The borders have been closed between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Canada. And troops have been deployed in Washington, D.C. The government has gone underground. Good evening. You're on the... well, good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Okay, all right, you got me. Okay. I'm calling from New York. I'm in New York. I'm in Queens.
Uh-huh.
All right. I guess you give... All right, should I give a name or give a name?
Well, you don't need to give a name. You can if you want to.
All right. I have a shortwave radio. Also, you sound very faded here. I was just going to say, I don't know what it is, but I'm tuned to BCQ, and normally at night you sound clear as a bell, and now you sound very faded.
In the daytime, shortwave reception
because of the sun?
Is much less hearable because of the propagation caused by the sun.
The sun?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay. Well, I'm tuning up and down the AM dial. All I keep hearing is the same thing. The same sensationalism that they do, that they've been doing. You know, what the media typically does. You know, making this thing some kind of. And I'm not sure whether it's the government or not. And I'm wondering if it probably is with some of the points you're making. And also immediately when I tune the radio on, they sound like they knew that the plane was hijacked. They knew everything that was happening, either almost like as if before it happened.
Well, they knew everything that was happening for sure, and they knew instantly as soon as those planes had been hijacked. Absolutely. Whether or not, we don't know who is behind this, but I can tell you that most of the terrorist organizations in the world were created by some intelligence organization.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm here. I'm getting a problem here with this radio. Okay.
Yeah, well, just leave your radio off.
No, yes. Okay.
Okay, you have anything else to report?
I didn't see it, so I can't report it because I wasn't actually there at the time.
Is there anything on the local news that has not been reported on the national news?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a television. I could get one, but I just didn't bother. They have so much crap on TV that I could buy one right now, but I just don't even bother with TV. So I usually stick to radio. To tell you the truth, I don't use television at all.
Okay.
I haven't looked at TV in about 5 years.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks for the good work.
You're
Goodbye.
Welcome. Folks, I can tell you that I was watching television when the towers collapsed. First, I believe it was the North Tower, or excuse me, the South Tower, and then the North Tower collapsed. I believe that's the order in which they collapsed. I could be mistaken. There were so many emergency personnel and people who had rushed to try to help the people who were trapped inside of those towers, and of course who were trying to evacuate the towers, that when they came down, I can assure you that an awful lot of emergency personnel, firemen, policemen, paramedics, were caught by those falling buildings. And so the number of people who initially began rescue attempts and emergency firefighting and maintaining order in that area have been injured or killed. There are at least minimum 50,000 people who worked in those two towers. You can reasonably expect many thousands of deaths and many more thousands of people injured maimed or wounded. This is not just an attack upon the United States. It's an attack upon freedom around the world. This is an attack upon humanity, as a matter of fact. And because of it, freedom will be redefined. You saw what happened after Waco. You saw what happened after the Oklahoma City bombing. You've seen the draconian legislation, the Anti-Terrorist Act, the unconstitutional things that are going on all over the country because of exactly what you're seeing today, and you can expect it to become a lot worse. Freedom will be redefined. Rights are going to disappear. This is not a guess. This is exactly what's going to come out of this. Good evening. You're on the air, or I should say, good morning. Hello.
Oh, sorry to call you back. Just one very important thing. Do you still have your newspaper available? Your Kaji or
no?
No.
No.
There's no newspaper to subscribe to.
No. It's on
okay. Any tapes more for sale?
It's on the internet. WilliamCooper.com.
All right. What if you don't have a computer? Can you order through mail with
No. No. It's all on the internet.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
520-333-4578 is the number. Please don't call unless you have something to report, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason I'm not going back to the reports on C-SPAN or anything else is because these people are whipping up a hysteria. They really are. Here's what's happened so far, and this is all that has happened. 2 commercial-sized jet aircraft have crashed into each of the twin towers of the World Trade Center buildings. Both of those towers have collapsed in upon themselves. There are many, many thousands of people who are dead, wounded, or maimed. Not only who were in the building, but many of the rescue workers and firemen and police officers and just plain citizens who had rushed into that area to try to help people have been killed or wounded also because of the collapse of the buildings. You have to understand, when something that large comes down, it affects a large area around it, and the destruction is probably quite extensive. And probably, won't for some time. Another airplane, a commercial-sized jetliner, has crashed into the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. The damage that jet did was so extensive that even initially the tower of flames and smoke were hundreds of yards wide and went a couple of thousand feet up into the air. So the damage and destruction at the Pentagon is extensive. There was a report, and it's been confirmed, that another jet commercial-type plane has crashed into the ground short of what appears to be, what might have been its target, Camp David. And that's an indication that this attack may have come from the Middle East, because a lot of people over there were very angry at the Camp David Accords that tried to make peace between Israel and the Palestinians. The thing that's so strange about it is that it was the Israelis who had the most anger about the Camp David Accords, not the Palestinians. The Palestinians that have been shown on the major networks and cable news stations are jubilant. I can't understand how anyone could be happy about killing so many thousands and thousands of people. But the Palestinians are demonstrating a tremendous celebration and happiness over this, which does not bode well for them. I can tell you that right now. That could cause a backlash from the American people against Palestinians everywhere. And folks, please don't do that, because Palestinians who live in this country, who may have come from that area of the world, do not necessarily agree with the politics that's going on in the Middle East. So, don't strike out at innocent people, please. Just, be cool, be calm. Don't let the major media whip you up into a hysteria. Just understand that there's going to be repercussions here. If you're a known patriot leader or member of a militia, you need to go underground for your own protection simply because of what has happened in the past. The media and the government lashes out at whoever it considers to be its enemy at times like this, and we already know that they're scared to death of American patriots and militia members, even though none of these people have had anything to do with any kind of terrorist activity, and wouldn't. They're American patriots. They love this country. We do want to restore a constitutional Republican government, but what you've seen this morning is not the way to do it. Period. Absolutely is not the way to do it. No American patriot, no American militia participated in any of the events that have happened today. There are rumors flying everywhere. Don't listen to rumors. Don't fly off the deep end. Don't run out and jump off the pier. Don't listen to people like Alex Jones, whom I can tell you already is going to be one of these fly off the deep end nuts. Martial law, I can tell you right now, is in effect nationwide. Both borders between Mexico and Canada are closed. All airports are closed. All planes are grounded. Seaports are closed now. Several governors have called up the National Guard. The state of Maryland is under martial law. A regiment of United States Army troops has been deployed in Washington, D.C. And that's all we know right now. The government has closed down. All government buildings in Washington, D.C. have been evacuated. The government has been moved to its hard site underground locations. The president will not be going to the White House. I don't care what they tell you on the news. He will be going to his underground hard site command post, wherever that may be, Mount Weather or elsewhere. There are many of them there's not just one, there's many of them that he could go to. And, I hate to say this, but I predicted that all of these things were going to happen years ago, warned you what the outcome would be. And folks, this is not about the Middle East. It's not about Osama bin Laden terrorist. It's about world totalitarian socialist government. You're going to see some draconian laws passed to try to prevent this from happening in the future. At least that's going to be the excuse. And we'll just have to wait and see what the government is going to implement and put into place. Please don't panic. Don't spread rumors. Don't tell lies. Don't participate in the insanity that's already going on. There's lots of wackos and nuts across this country calling in bomb threats and doing a number of very, very stupid things. And I can assure you there are people tracing them down. And if you're one of them, you're going to find yourself behind bars real quick. So don't do it. If you are doing it, stop it now. Just stop it. Don't spread rumors like have been going around in the Round Valley here. People have been spreading a rumor that somebody's going to blow up the school. That is not true. That is not true. And if you hear anybody saying that, tell them to shut their mouth. Just tell them to shut up and go away. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the worst days in the history of the entire world, not just the United States. Not just the United States. Terrorism has a goal. The goal is to strip freedom from the population of the world. You can bet on it. That will be the outcome. Freedom will be redefined or disappear altogether. And we have known for many years that These kinds of things have been planned, have been in the works. We didn't know the time period that they would happen. If you read my book, this is exactly the scenario that I described. I named the city, New York. Unbelievable. It's twice now they've hit the World Trade Center buildings. Somebody should have known. Somebody should have taken the precautions necessary to prevent these kinds of things from happening. We've all known, it's been discussed. People have ventured speculation that somebody could fly an airplane into the White House or into the Pentagon or into a major target somewhere here in the United States of America. So, it's not as if nobody suspected that anything like this could happen. It's one of the first things that anyone would think of. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, Bill, good afternoon. I'm calling from New Jersey, watching the local news here. Earlier this morning, about 10 minutes after it happened, one of the news stations received a phone call from a person inside one of the buildings, actually calling for help to help him get out of there. He reported that the whole core inside of the building was blown out, and all the elevator shafts were blown out. It was the first time you heard about it, and that was the last time. The news said, well, let's see if we can get somebody up there to help him. So that would do something, I guess, with the structural integrity of the building, whether it was, you said that the windows blew out from the inside, all the papers rushed from the inside of the building all the way out to all the windows that got blown out. So that was on Channel 7 News. I have that on videotape, so when I get a chance, I'll get a copy of that out to you.
So somebody phoned from inside the building.
Yes, he was more concerned about getting help. He's not really reporting what's going on. He said, listen, I'm stuck. The doors are jammed. I can't get out. The whole core of the building is gone. All I know is that he was on the 86th floor, I believe.
Well, here's one of the strangest things. You see, it wasn't just those planes flying into those buildings. It couldn't be. Because those planes hit almost at the top of the building. They were in the top third or one quarter of those towers and could not have injured the structural integrity of the building on the bottom. Also, the only place that fire was occurring was at that area and above.
That's what caused me suspicion as to why the whole building would collapse.
Something blew up on the major structural buildings down at the bottom of those buildings that brought them down, I can assure you of that.
That's why I suspected the whole core of the building was blown out.
Yeah.
You remember
what happened to the World Trade Center buildings today, towers today, is exactly what happened in Oklahoma City. It wasn't that truck parked out on the street that brought that building down.
Right.
You can't bring down a building like that by flying a plane into the top quarter of it or blowing up a truck full of fertilizer in the street. You have to have charges placed upon the main structural building, main structural members of the building in order to bring something like that down. Remember, these are steel reinforced concrete buildings.
Correct.
This is strong. They're called hard targets in military jargon. And the only way to affect a hard target is with placed charges on the main structural members.
Correct. Well, recollect years back when that bomber hit the Empire State Building. All it did was take out a couple of floors. That didn't come down. And I think aviation fuel is a little more volatile than jet fuel. So, and that building stayed erect.
Yep.
So that's all I can say. That's all I know. That's different than what the national media has been talking about. But I thought you might want to know that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Bill.
520-333-4578. If you have something to report that is happening that is not appearing on the major network news, or something has happened that I have not reported here, please call in your report to 520-333-4578 so we can get it on the air. Make sure that you know what you're talking about. No rumors, no hysteria, none of those things. Okay, folks? Once again, to recap, both World Trade Center towers have come down after large commercial jet aircraft have crashed into the top, appeared to me the top quarter of the two buildings, not the top third, but the top quarter of both buildings. But the buildings came down, folks. I mean, collapsed upon themselves all the way to the ground. A jet plane crashing into the top quarter of those buildings can't do that. It's absolutely impossible. Somebody had to have placed charges upon the main structural members that support the buildings somewhere at the ground level in order to bring those buildings down like they fell, just like the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. That fertilizer truck parked on the street did not bring that building down. It was supported by major columns of steel reinforced concrete, which are hard targets. And I know all about hard targets. I fought in a war. I went to booby trap school. The Navy taught me how to bring down hard targets, and they told me the only way that it could be done, and that's with shaped charges placed upon the main structural members. Airplanes flying into the top of those buildings did not bring those buildings down, and if you believe they did, you know, there's air between your ears, and there shouldn't be. There should be some brain material in there. If you don't believe me, talk to explosives experts, talk to demolition people who bring down buildings routinely, and they'll tell you exactly how hard it is to do it. It is very difficult to bring down a building that is built with as a hard target, as steel reinforced concrete, and those buildings were. Ladies and gentlemen, all I can tell you is this is a major attack upon the United States of America, but even more than that, it's a major attack upon freedom worldwide, and you're going to see some serious repercussions happen from all of the terrible things that have occurred this morning. It's one of the worst days in human history. Martial law exists right now. Whether they have stated it publicly or not, it is in effect right now. They have closed all airports, all seaports. They have grounded all aircraft. They have closed the border between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Canada. You can expect the government to, at any time, make a public or formal declaration of martial law, or they may decide to keep it secret for a while. They've deployed a regiment of troops in Washington, D.C. Several governors have called up the National Guard. Martial law exists in the state of Maryland. The National Guard is being deployed there. All government buildings in Washington, D.C. and in some states have been evacuated. The government of the United States of America is in its hard target command centers and underground installations. And the ones who aren't there yet are on the way to those places. The president is on his way to his hard underground command center. He will not go to the White House. And you can expect some serious things to happen, both in this country and probably abroad. I expect that the military is already preparing to strike somewhere at a nation or nations that have harbored terrorists. I don't believe that they're going to get Osama bin Laden. The CIA created Osama bin Laden, in case you weren't aware of that. And the Bush family has been doing business with the bin Laden family for many years. And I'm not making that up. That's a fact. They have intertwining investments in their business dealings. I think I talked about a little bit of it on a broadcast not too long ago. All of you who thought that George Bush was going to save this country, boy, were you mistaken. Gosh. Big mistake. Let's go see what's happening in the major venue and see if we can catch up if anything new has happened. I don't think anything new has happened, or somebody would have called. If you have something to report that I have not reported, that you know is fact, or that has been reported in your local news area that has not appeared on the national media, then I want you to call 520-333-4578 and report it here. No rumor. Don't repeat what comes in over your fax machine. I don't want to hear anything that comes out of the mouth of anybody like Alex Jones or his ilk. And be very careful. Don't allow yourself to be stirred up into a state of hysteria or anything like that. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm glad I got a shortwave. I just wanted to report the fact that all the primaries in New York State have been canceled, the primaries for governor and so forth, or, elections.
Almost everything has been canceled nationwide, including sports games, literally everything.
Right, and so, it's affecting every aspect of our lives, and even our, our ability to get out and vote.
Yeah.
So, thanks for your truthful comments and not allowing people to get on there and just make statements that can't be proven.
Well, that's unfortunately that's happening all over the place. The major media is just absolutely going nuts. They're whipping the country up into a state of hysteria. People like Alex Jones are going to. I just hate to think of what those people are going to do.
Yeah, and I listened to the shortwave a lot, and they were attacking you Friday or Saturday night on The Right Perspective. I like that show. But they were attacking you because you said that we hadn't landed on the moon or something. I mean,
we haven't.
People.
Or let me put it this way: I've always said I don't know if we landed on the moon or not. We just didn't do it in the Apollo space program. All of the photographs and all the videotape that they've shown us is total fake. It's all fake. Anybody with any education in photography or studio lighting can prove it in 10 seconds flat, with no problems, and that's just one of the things that's wrong with all of that stuff.
Well, my point on that is the fact that what few people are that are trying to do things by just facts like what you're trying to do, if we all go around shooting each other in the foot, it just takes away the credibility of all of us.
Well, be careful. There's some people who need to be shot in the foot. There are other people out there pretending to be patriots, pretending to be disseminating the truth, that are actually working for the people who want to destroy constitutional Republican government and put the world under socialism. And, I don't know, maybe those guys in The Right Perspective are part of that.
Well, all I can say is
I can tell you that Alex Jones for sure is, and so's Lieutenant Colonel James Bobo Gritz.
Well, Jones will be foaming at the mouth over this, and it'll all be a bunch of emotional tirade. But anyways, keep up the good work.
Okay. And don't, be careful who you listen to. I've already heard reports of people saying that we're going to be attacked by the communist Chinese and by the Russians because of this. This is all a diversion, and it's a lie. It is a lie. We are not going to be attacked by communist China or by Russia at all, period. Period. At least not today. So don't listen to people who are spreading those rumors. The rumors are flying like crazy everywhere. And they're all, they're lies. They're lies. What I've told you on this broadcast is what has happened. And so far, that is all that has happened. So don't go off the deep end. Don't go crazy. There are some things that we can expect reasonably because of what has happened in the past. When the Oklahoma City Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was brought down, and all those people were killed without any reason whatsoever. They attacked American patriots and members of the militia all across this country, and for several years we were the brunt of vicious, terrible lies and attacks from all quarters. Fundamentalist religious groups were also attacked. You can expect the same thing to happen again. You can expect people in their anger and in their hurt and in their emotion to lash out at people in their communities who may be from the Middle East. These things you can expect to happen because we know that they have happened in the past. It happened when the first attack upon the World Trade Center building. It happened after the Oklahoma City bombing. Fundamentalist religious groups were attacked across this nation when the government went in and murdered all of those people in Waco, Texas, even though those people had never hurt anybody in their entire history. We're not, I mean, it was just insane. So you can expect some of those things to happen again. And you need to take steps to protect yourself if you belong to one of the groups that may be attacked because of this, either by the press or by the government. If you're a known patriot leader or member of the militia, because martial law has been declared, you may be targeted to be arrested and detained. Take steps to protect yourselves. Remember, once they get rid of American patriots and militia members, if that, in fact, is going to be a part of this, there will be nobody to fight for freedom in this country. So you cannot allow it to happen to you. You must protect yourselves. So please, do it now. 520-333-4578 is the number if you've got anything to call in and report that you know is happening. We don't want to hear rumor. Don't want to hear anything repeated that somebody like some fax network might have sent to you on your fax machine. I don't want to hear anything that you read that somebody sent you an email, period, at all. I only want to hear facts. And facts are either what you witness or what you can say is printed in a newspaper or announced over the air, although those are not necessarily facts. If they're reported, they have a greater chance of being true than anything else that you're going to hear. If something's being reported in your local area that has not been reported on the major news networks or cable news networks, please call me at 520-333-4578 so that we can get it on the air. If you know something personally, you're a witness that has happened in your area, we want to know about that also. Otherwise, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to add to the confusion and the hysteria and the terrible things that are already going on. So please, folks, be careful what you say, what you pass on. Make sure that you don't pass on rumors. Don't get hysterical. Don't repeat, some of the stuff that you're going to be hearing on television and on the radio that is obviously just designed to whip people up into maybe doing some very bad things. So let's go see what's going on.
United States an idea, a good enough idea about who might be responsible for this to take military action. Jamie, you've been covering the Pentagon for many years now. Did you ever think you'd be getting briefings in the military Quick Mart next door? You know, we thought at times about what would happen if there were an attack on the Pentagon, because the Pentagon would seem to be a prime target. We always anticipated, of course, that the attack would be on the other side, where the offices of the Defense Secretary and all the high-ranking brass is. Instead, it was on this side of the building. And you run through your mind various scenarios about how it might be to cover it, but I never expected the enormity of this story. This is just, it's incomprehensible. There have been, every time I stop to actually think about what's happened and the loss of life involved and
folks, you just heard confirmation of what I've been telling you. Just in case you think I'm some kind of a wacko or nut, I'm not. I've been studying this scenario for years. When I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence and Naval Security and Intelligence, when I was on the staff of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, I saw the whole plan for bringing this all about. I knew what was going to happen years ago. I warned you. I told you exactly what was going to happen. I wrote about it in my book. You just heard one of the reporters on C-SPAN echo what I've been telling you. He said there's going to be a tremendous reduction in freedom because of what has happened to this. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not some wacko nut, folks. I've done more research than you can even think of even wanting to do on what's happening in this country and around the world and what's coming as a result of it. I know what I'm talking about. And not only do I know it, but I have documented over the years. I've given you all the documentation, told you exactly where to go. None of this is hidden. They haven't even tried to hide any of it. It's all the truth. Now they're trying to make you believe that 2 airplanes flew into the top of the World Trade Center tower buildings, and that caused the buildings to collapse all the way to the ground. And that's not true. The only way those buildings could be brought down is if there were shaped charges placed upon the main structural buildings at ground level in order to bring those towers down to the ground. And that's exactly what happened. Also, just as they started to come down, there were huge explosions that echoed all across Manhattan. And, explosions, folks, are explosions. So, what we're going to see come out of this is exactly what you just heard that reporter say.
Certainly are not. Clearly, we need to have improved intelligence to deal with this situation. This is about the first line of defense against terrorism. It's a very difficult nut for us to crack. In this instance, for instance, the basic intelligence is done by the FBI because it's inside the United States. But on the other hand, we almost assume that the perpetrators are from overseas and therefore the CIA is involved. But getting the right leads and getting the right information is a very difficult proposition. I think we also have to enlist the support of our friends overseas, the French, the British, the Germans, and so on, so that we have a clearinghouse whereby little pieces of intelligence that come in from one place or another all get funneled into the same central point. And some piece that you think is not important, perhaps, becomes very important when you add it to 2 or 3 other pieces that you've got.
Admiral, we're talking about 4 passenger jets that are hijacked. One crashes in western Pennsylvania, one goes into the Pentagon, 2 go into the World Trade Center. Shouldn't there have been an alarm someplace? These obviously the pilots of these American and United jets didn't fly these jets into the buildings. These were trained pilots who hijacked these airliners.
No question about it. This is a very sophisticated operation, and one would hope that there would be some clues and that our intelligence would pick them up. I will say again, though, that it's a very tough...
Now, let me tell you, folks, that's Admiral Stansfield Turner. If, when I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence, I was able to put my hands on and read Operation Majority, which was the plan to bring about world government after terrorist attacks exactly like this, strip the freedoms from the American people, then I know full well that Admiral Stansfield Turner also saw and read those documents and knew exactly what was going to happen before it did. He said it was a very sophisticated operation, and of course it is. Exactly like the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. Do what you want, believe what you want, and you will. I know that. But don't be foolish in what you believe. Don't take my word for it. Talk to people who do it for a living, who bring down buildings for a living, demolition experts, people in the military who are explosives experts, people like me who went to booby trap schools and were taught how to bring down hard targets by the military. And I'm telling you right now, you don't do it with a truck full of fertilizer, and you don't bring down huge buildings like the Trade Center towers by crashing planes into the upper floors. Something blew up on the main structural members at the bottoms of those buildings, both of them, that brought those buildings down, folks. Everybody in Manhattan heard the explosions. So, we have been attacked. This country has been attacked. Freedom has been attacked. Our Constitution, hasn't been in reality in existence for a while. Now I can tell you probably for sure that it's going to disappear forever. Martial law has been declared nationwide, even though it has not been announced to the American people. Martial law is, right now, at this instant, in effect. Several states are under martial law. Several governors have called up the National Guard. A regiment of United States Army troops have been deployed in Washington, D.C. The entire United States government has evacuated all government buildings and have gone underground to their hard site locations and command centers. The president is not on his way to the White House, as the media has reported, and will not go to the White House. The Secret Service is deployed all around the White House, outside of the grounds with machine guns. This is a terrible thing. It's an attack upon the whole human race. The main target, ladies and gentlemen, is freedom. And freedom, as we have always known it, is no more, will disappear. The term will be redefined probably as freedom is whatever the law allows you to do. There will be no more rights. The law will not be restricted. They're going to pass some draconian legislation from this. You can expect that bare minimum, 10,000 people are dead. Bare minimum, betcha. Maybe a lot more than that. At least 50,000 people work in the World Trade Center towers. Not only that, but there were a lot of tourists in the World Trade Center towers at the time that this happened. You see, there thousands of tourists go up to the top of those buildings every day to an observation center, and there's some shops up there where you can look out over Manhattan and New York and into New Jersey for a long, long way. It's beautiful. I've been up there. So you can bet there were a lot of tourists in the buildings that don't work there. There are probably delivery people and visitors who don't work in the building. So you can add, between the two buildings, maybe another 10,000 people on top of the 50,000 that worked in those two buildings. And between the Pentagon and the World Trade Center towers, you can expect a minimum of 10,000 people dead and many, many more injured, wounded, or maimed. And when you add up all the people who ran to those buildings after the planes crashed into them to try to help with the evacuation and help people who might be wounded to fight the fires, who knows how many firemen and fire department people were in the building trying to get up the stairwells with hoses and things to the floors to fight the fires. Who knows how many policemen and emergency medical technicians and medical personnel went into the building to try to help the wounded and injured during their evacuation. Both of the towers came down, folks, after tremendous explosions occurred at ground level. So there you have it. I wrote about this in my book. I even named the city. I said it was going to be New York. I hate that. But you see, you have to, that's how Hitler came to power in Germany. When he didn't get enough votes, when the Nazi Party did not get enough votes to take over the German Congress, which was the Reichstag, and install Hitler as the new Reich Chancellor, they burned the Reichstag. And that gave Hitler the excuse to destroy and round up all of his political enemies and establish himself as the Reich Chancellor of Germany. And the Nazi Party then, as we all know, took over the whole country. And that's the scenario. That was the reason for the destruction of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, and that's what's truly behind what's happening today. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research, do your own investigation, watch what happens as a result of this, and you'll see that I'm right on target. I know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a long-range plan that I saw many years ago. It's on our website. It's called Majesty 12. Go there and read it and see if I didn't call the shot. I called it right on the money. And I hate that. But that's how they cause public reaction to cry for the changes that they want to make that actually will enslave the people who cry for those things to be done. And you watch, Americans will be asking for more draconian laws, more security, more cameras on the street corners, and maybe even a camera in your home. Who knows? But that's what's going to come out of this. Freedom is going to be no more. Unfortunately, That's the upshot of the whole thing. 520-333-4578 is the number. And after we get a handle on this and see that maybe nothing else is going to happen at all, then we'll open the phone for comments and discussion from the listening audience. I want to again caution you folks, don't pass on rumor. Don't make up stories. Don't do stupid things like phone in bomb threats and stuff like, it's happening all over the place. Stupid people, idiots, are adding to the chaos by doing those kinds of things. Don't go around telling people that somebody's going to blow up the school or anything like that. That's not what this is about.
This is going to be one of those days people are going to be asking, where were you?
The day Kennedy was assassinated or anything else. We'll never forget this day, and unfortunately.
Let's go to Lauren Ashburn. She's at the USA Today building in Roslyn. Lauren?
Yes, hi, Buck. We are right at 1000 Wilson Boulevard in Arlington, Virginia. Over my shoulder, you can see the Pentagon, the pictures you have been showing all morning long. We do have some new information for you. You just talked about the report that some battle carrier groups were being deployed. We do know that the USS John Kennedy is being deployed, as is the USS George Washington, those battleship carrier groups out of Norfolk.
Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Bill.
Yeah.
CBS just reported a few minutes ago that Chuck Hagel, who's a senator with connections to the Bilderberg Organization, was quoted as saying, "America is changed forever."
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, that's anybody can predict that. It's true.
Right, but coming from a Bilderberger, I think it has a little extra impact.
Yep,
Thank you.
That's correct.
Bye.
And you all just heard that they have deployed 2 carrier strike forces, the Navy has deployed 2 carrier strike forces. They may just be going to sea in order to be at sea in case they get an order to strike wherever they're going to. I guarantee you they're going to strike somewhere. Guaranteed. We will be at war before another day passes. I can guarantee you, with somebody, we will be at war. We're going to strike somewhere. They have to do that. They have to have somebody to blame this on. And, probably whoever they're going to strike had absolutely something to do with it. I don't know who that is yet. And all I can tell you is we'll find out as time goes by. But they will be striking somebody somewhere, and they may be striking at groups within this country. And if you're a member of any of the groups that I discussed earlier, make sure that you take steps to protect yourselves from arrest or attack. Traditionally, governments, when things like this happen, use or seize the opportunity to blame their political enemies, and they round them up. They're called purges, pogroms. You've heard about it, you've read about it. And this is what happens. They create a situation where they can look around and single out their political enemies, round them up, arrest them, and they just disappear. Is what happens, and nobody cares. You think anybody's going to care what the government does to whoever they decide to pin this on, whether whoever they pin it on actually did it or not? Do you think anybody in this country is really going to care what happens to those people? No. Not at all. They'll be doing what they did to the Branch Davidians after they got through demonizing David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. I heard Christians, people who called themselves the followers of Jesus, I heard them say, those people deserved what they got. They were just a bunch of religious fanatics. Can you imagine that? Well, you can expect the same thing to be said about whoever the government targets to go after because of this. And I'm telling you, they may seize the moment to go after patriot leaders and militia members all over this country. If they do that, you had better make sure that you took the steps necessary to protect yourselves. And you should be doing that right now. Go underground now. Be ready to fight for freedom if you have to. Don't strike out in any other manner except in self-defense, period. Understand that. But once attacked, please don't let them take out the leadership that's loyal to the Constitution and constitutional Republican government in this country, or those who are willing to fight and die for it if necessary. It's going to be a big test for a lot of people. Maintain calm. Don't go off the deep end. Don't get hysterical. Don't pass around rumor. Don't participate in all the baloney that's going on. Okay, folks? But be ready to defend yourselves. If they should use this opportunity to destroy those of us in this country who oppose the New World Order. And that could be one of the offshoots of the many things that are going to happen because of this. You heard the reporters, you heard, the last caller. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that freedom will be redefined after this day. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe that freedom's going to exist for anybody after this day. I think the Bill of Rights is history. And, what else can I say?
Didn't see a lot of people running out. We heard of bodies jumping from the building and body parts. And New York City Mayor Giuliani says what he knows is that this is a horrendous loss of life.
The only thing in the air over the Washington area, frankly over the United States right now, military jets, aircraft, helicopters. The FAA has grounded all planes. No planes will take off the rest of the day. Had one friend flying in from California. He made it as far as Kansas. The FAA told all aircraft in the sky to land at the nearest possible airport.
We have Hussein Ibish on the phone of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. I'm sorry if I got the title wrong.
No, that's exactly correct.
Thank you, Mr. Ibish, for being with us. Your reaction to what has happened today?
I'm devastated. I'm absolutely appalled. I think that the entire nation is in a state of shock. I don't think we were prepared for this at all. I think that all Americans were the target of this despicable, reprehensible set of actions. And the Arab American community, and I know this not just from my own reaction, but from talking to my friends and my colleagues all morning long, is really devastated by this. We are horrified. We feel attacked ourselves as much as any other group of Americans, and we are in a state of shock and utter devastation.
Mr. Ibish, you say you feel under attack yourself as any other Americans, but even more so, do you think that there will be people who will look at Arab Americans and see only terrorists instead of human beings?
Sometimes that has happened, but I think that we have had enough experience with rushes to judgment in the past with the Oklahoma City bombing and TWA Flight 800 that we know that, first of all, that you can only hold individuals responsible for their actions and not blame entire groups of people or ethnicities or religions or anything like that. I think Americans know that. They're fair people. They understand that. And I think also that we know that until the police work is done, and this conspiracy is so massive, so gigantic, that I have confidence in our law enforcement officials that they'll be able to get leads very quickly, and that I'm sure we'll be able to bring the criminals to justice, and I hope we do. So that we should, of course, recall that sometimes we've been sure that attacks on things like the Oklahoma City Federal Center or the Murrah Building were originated outside our country, and they turned out to be from groups based within the United States. Yes. So we should be cautious and proceed, with due deliberation and resist rushes to judgment. But I think we do need to stand together as a society and, make sure that the criminals who are responsible for this are brought to justice as quickly as possible.
Mr. Ibish, thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us.
Well, thank you.
Did you hear that, folks? He said it was a conspiracy. That makes him a conspiracy theorist, I guess. You know, the government and everybody for years has been trying to tell you that there's no such thing as conspiracy. Nobody ever engages in conspiracies. There are no conspiracies. And anybody thinks there's a conspiracy is a conspiracy theorist. But the truth is, what happened today is a part of a huge conspiracy, very sophisticated, very coordinated, had lots of money, had training, had plans probably in place for over several years to be able to coordinate something like this as well as it was coordinated. It wasn't just airplanes flying into targets. Those two World Trade Center towers were brought down by explosives placed upon the main structural reinforced concrete members that hold those buildings up. Nothing else could bring those buildings down. An airplane crashing in to one of those buildings won't do it. Absolutely won't do it.
Point in the building. The building was very quickly evacuated. People were sent as far away from the building as possible.
They're talking about the Pentagon.
Many people were sent home. And again, with a request, please call your loved ones right away to let them know you're okay. People were, again, sent as far away from the building as possible. We didn't know what might happen next, and the fire was burning very fiercely at that point in time. Greg?
Sir, where the injured being
Go ahead. No, I sensed no panic. People were moving very quickly for the exits to the building, but it was all very controlled.
Can you repeat what
Yeah.
investigations? The FBI handling this, or are there any military agencies?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is the FBI handling this exclusively, or is there any military organizations that are helping with the investigation?
Well, I'm sure the FBI will probably have the lead on this as any domestic sort of circumstance. We will assist wherever possible, but right now our focus is on controlling the fires in the building, taking a head count of the injured, making sure families are notified. That's our priority right now. Go ahead.
Do you expect the casualties to...
Now remember, folks, after the Oklahoma City bombing that I warned you that there would be many more terrorist attacks in this country, that they would be much, much worse than the Oklahoma City bombing that you ever dreamed it could be, and that the major, most devastating attack would probably occur in a major population center like New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, or Washington, D.C., and I have always told you that I believe that the main target, even though it could have been, Chicago, L.A., or Washington, D.C., the main target would be New York City. Why? Because the whole world looks at New York City as one of the major influential and important cities in the entire world, not just the United States. So to make a major impact, that city would have to be one that was one of the major targets. So I hate being right, but once again, I was right. I told you this would happen. And I also warned you that it would result in more draconian legislation and laws being passed, more draconian police measures being implemented in this country, and that's exactly what's going to happen. If you don't believe me, you just keep watching, because there's going to be so much pressure on Congress and the government to make sure that this never happens again, that if you walk out of your house and your nose is pointed in the wrong direction, you're liable to find yourself in prison. So just be aware that's what this is really all about. This isn't gonna, anybody, if you really believe that somebody would do this in order to create some kind of resolution between antagonists in the Middle East, you're nuts. You're absolutely insane. Because this just, you see, nobody's going to gain anything from this. Period. Everyone will lose. And whoever did this knows it. Knows it. If you're a military organization, or if you're whoever you are, you don't set out to destroy yourself by your actions. You set out to create situations that will improve your situation. And whoever did this knows, absolutely, that nothing good could come from this for them or from anyone else. This is a major attack upon freedom worldwide.
there was any warning, so to speak, of this aircraft's action. What did you ask just a second ago? You said.
Where's the president?
I don't know.
You know if the plane was from Dulles or National?
No, I don't know any information at all on the plane.
There were reports early on of a second airplane headed toward the Pentagon, and fighters were scrambled. We saw F-16s in the air in this area. What can you tell us about that? Was that a false alarm, and what if they scrambled?
I don't.
I hate to say this, folks, but those of you who have listened to my broadcasts over the years and who have read my book, I predicted that these things would happen long ago, many years ago, long before anybody ever dreamed that anything, even remotely similar to Waco or the Alfred P. Murrah building, could happen in this country. Those things just didn't happen here. And so they said I was crazy, I was nuts, I was some kind of conspiracy theorist. But as the years have gone by, every prediction that I have ever made, ladies and gentlemen, has come true. Now I'm going to tell you, I didn't make these predictions because I'm some kind of psychic or God speaks to me, in the middle of the night, or I got a crystal ball or something. Many years ago, when I was in the United States Navy attached to the Office of Naval Intelligence as a member of the intelligence briefing team on the staff of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, I saw a plan called Majesty 12, which contained an operation called Operation Majority. And that plan outlined all of these things that were to happen from that time into the future. And all I've done is research over the years in order to determine if that plan was true, who was behind it, and why, and so I could warn the American people, and I have done that. And all of the predictions that I have ever made, except for one, has come true. And the one that I made that didn't come true, I said that Manuel Noriega would not be tried in an American court because his arrest, deportation from Panama, and being brought into an American court as the head of a foreign nation violated his immunity as the head of that foreign nation under international law. And under international law, what was done to him could not be done. Well, I was wrong. Apparently, no law anymore is sacred or is in place if they don't want to follow it. And so they took Manuel Noriega, arrested him, the head of his own country, brought him here, tried him in a court, and threw him into prison. Which means that another country, if they're strong enough to do it, could do that to our president also. You see what I'm talking about? So I didn't think that they were there at that advance toward world government that they could get away with that, but apparently they were. And after today, they're even going to be more advanced. Major draconian steps taken after today that's going to strip us of our rights, our freedoms. The Bill of Rights is going to go right in the trash can almost immediately. You're going to see the opening of the borders between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Canada, and you're going to see the bringing together of Region 1 of the New World Order, which will erase the national identities of Mexico, the United States of America, and Canada, and eventually, the world government will emerge from all of this. It will be totalitarian, it will be socialist, and there will be no rights for anyone, only privileges which can be granted and taken away by whatever world governing body that is. And, all the things that I predicted would come about after Waco and after the Oklahoma City bombing happened. And I predicted those things would happen and that those events would happen long before they ever happened. Long before they ever happened. I predicted what happened in New York City today. I didn't know it was going to be done by airplanes and shaped charges on structural members. I just knew that tremendous major terrorist attack would occur, most probably in New York City, and that there would be many thousands of lives lost. You've all heard me say that over the years on my broadcast. If you get my book and read it, you'll see that it's printed right in there. You can't miss it, along with several other possible scenarios, one of which is landing of a flying saucer on the White House lawn, and out comes this little alien-looking guy, and the president tells us we have contact with another world. It would all be phony, fake, just like the Apollo moon landings, but it would be believed if the president said it was true. Isn't that terrible? That's how far down the ladder we've sunk, folks. Well, let's get some of your comments on all of this. You don't have to report now. No reports are coming in. Nothing new is happening. I believe that the worst of it is over. In fact, I believe it's all over for today. So now we'll get your calls and your comments. 520-333-4578. The phone is open. Keep your discussions to what happened this morning in New York City, Washington, D.C., and the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, which we believe was trying to make it to Camp David. So we'll take your calls now and get your comments, what you think about all of this, and where you think we're going with it, and what you're going to do about it. 520-333-4578. That's 520-333-4578. If you're glued to the national media, folks, stop it now. All they're going to do is work you up into a frenzy. For the rest of the day, they're just going to be repeating what they've already told you, and showing over and over again the collapse of the World Trade Center towers, the burning Pentagon. They're going to get the opinions of everybody in the world. All of these so-called experts are going to be trooped in front of you. And it's all designed. Here's what it's designed to do. It's designed to get you ready to accept whatever measures the government decides to impose upon the citizens of this country, and to approve of whatever strike they intend to carry out on whatever nation or nations in another part of the world in order to retaliate for what has happened this morning. So give me a call. Tell me what you think about all of this. And, I'm absolutely, I predicted this. I knew it was coming. And even though I knew it and I predicted it and I understand what the aftermath is going to be, I am completely blown away. I'm shocked. I am so sad and so hurt by all of this. And I feel such empathy and terrible, tremendous sympathy for all of those people who have lost their lives and loved ones. It's just the most incredible thing. It's the worst day in the history of the world, in my estimation, because it's not just an attack upon some people who got killed and this country at large. It's an attack upon freedom worldwide. 520-333-4578. I want to hear your comments. No matter what's playing, whether I'm talking or whether you're listening to other people or there's music, call anytime you want to, and we'll go right to the phones.
The second plane going into the second tower of the World Trade Center. The first attack happened at 8:45. This happened about 9 o'clock. And about maybe 30 to 40 minutes later, we're going to see the first of the towers crumble into a heap of twisted metal. There again was that.
You see, I told you. That's what's going to happen all day long and all night long. You're going to see it over and over and over and over and over and over again. They're going to whip the nation into a hysteria so that everybody is crying for Congress and the government to do something. And what are they going to do? They're going to take your freedoms away, even though you had nothing to do with it. That's what happens. That's the result of things like this. I told you it was coming. I'm so sorry that I was right. 520-333-4578 is the number. And folks, don't forget, if anything does happen that I have not reported, I want to hear about it. Make sure it's, not rumor. 520-333-4578 is the number. You can call anytime. Anytime the phone rings, we'll go straight to the phone.
In that crash near Pittsburgh, there was a man who was on a cell phone at the time, and he called 911. He was locked in the restroom. He said, "We are being hijacked. We are being hijacked." That was the passenger aboard United Flight 93. He was trying to call emergency personnel on his cell phone. Westmoreland County Emergency Dispatch Supervisor Glenn Kramer says a dispatcher got a call from a man who said he was locked in a bathroom aboard a plane. The quote about the plane being hijacked came from a transcript of the call. Flight 93 was headed from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. It had 38 passengers, 2 pilots, 5 flight attendants on board.
You heard it from former CIA Director Admiral Stansfield Turner and 2 experts on international terrorism. Our lives will never be the same. Everything about aviation, everything we do in this country will change from this day forward.
That plane that we were just telling you about.
You see, folks, another confirmation that what I've been telling you all of these years is true. It's a shame that nobody would listen, because all of this could have been avoided years ago if the American people could have awakened to what's really happening in this world. You're going to hear that echoed and echoed until everyone believes it and accepts it, because that's the main goal, is to get you first to understand it, then to believe it, and then to accept it. And then the government will do whatever they consider to be necessary, which could be busting down these doors right here to shut me up, because this is the only broadcast in the entire world of any kind that's telling you the truth about what has happened this morning. I think that's beginning to dawn on some of you finally.
Chesapeake Bay.
Once the World Trade Center was hit, we have some videotape of the Brooklyn Bridge being evacuated. Look at that.
People walking.
Oh.
You know, I told you earlier I was concerned about our daughter who's there in college, and I couldn't get through, and they were saying, don't be worried that the circuits would be jammed, and a friend heard, and she called, and she's around the South Pier, and she said you could feel the building rumble. Kids who had left earlier for classes came running back. Some were covered with soot, and they were nowhere close to the World Trade Center, but that's just how far it all went. Let's listen to what's going on in New York City right now.
It just had 40 people in there, just an explosion. Just a light flash out my window. My whole doorway to entrance to my office blew open. My office was freaking out. I just told them to calm down and get to the center of the office. Everybody was fine on my floor, and we just started heading down the stairs. I heard people were trapped in the bathroom. I ran to the bathroom. It was just blown out. I asked if anybody was in there. People weren't in there. So I started going down the steps. I heard people shouting. I stopped at like 68, and there's a woman in a wheelchair, and I got her in the strapped wheelchair and just carried her down the steps and carried her down 68 floors, man. And then we got lost on the 5th floor. It was chaos.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's going to be, I'm sure, some great stories of heroism. What can you do? Probably the best thing, if you really want to help, is to donate blood.
Donate blood.
Say a prayer.
Donate blood. 1-866 blood saves in our area. We've been talking about the exodus from the district.
Say lots of prayers, folks, please. Everybody. It's so important that everyone say prayers for all of these people who have been so devastated by this.
A little bit of good news, if there is such a thing on a day like today. It looks like things have started to clear out around the Beltway. You're looking live at the American Legion Bridge. I can tell you this, that on the inner loop of the Beltway, we're not seeing too many delays right now as you make your trip between Bethesda and College Park. The outer loop of the Beltway is also running nicely across the bridge span until you get to about Springfield, and that's where we're having some problems. We're looking here at Springfield right now. Now, northbound on 95, we're seeing jam traffic from Dale City up to the Beltway. The problem there is that you can go no further than the Beltway, because at that point there is a closure in effect. Northbound 395 is closed between the Beltway and the inbound 14th Street Bridge. Southbound 395 is open. open. So what's happening is people are taking the northbound lanes of 95. They're getting up to the Beltway, and they must get off at the inner loop or the outer loop of the Beltway. So consequently, we're seeing traffic on the outer loop of the Beltway jammed from Springfield over to the Wilson Bridge. Inner loop delays begin about at St. Barnabas Road. But that's about the worst of it on the Beltway. Around town, of course, eastbound Constitution is closed at 23rd Street. Eastbound Pennsylvania Avenue shut down at 18th Street. Inbound Teddy Roosevelt Bridge, that's just been shut down. That's new. And as you know, a lot of there are a lot of closures around town that are just popping up here and there as security requires that. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. Mike and Andrea, back to you.
All right, Sherry Elliker, thank you very much.
You don't know what to do in a situation like this, but I guess the example of...
Notice the tone of all this, ladies and gentlemen, is so obvious that everything is going to change in this country after today, that even the reporters, without any input from anybody, are making those observations themselves. You're hearing it from officials like Admiral Stansfield Turner and congressmen and senators and many other people have already made this statement, that freedom is out the window. Freedom is no more. And they're saying it in different ways, but it all means exactly the same thing. And what they're doing with all of this, you're going to see repetition. You're going to see nothing but repetition of what has happened this morning over and over and over again. And you're going to hear this. Everything's going to change in this country from now on. Even though people in this country had nothing to do with it, we're going to be the ones who are going to be punished for it. We're going to lose our freedoms. We're going to lose our Bill of Rights because of this. And there's going to be now no opposition to disarming anybody. And anybody who stands up and resists it and opposes it and speaks on behalf of freedom will be ostracized by the American people who are so hurt by all of this and are so emotional. They will not oppose any measures that the government wants to put into place to take away our freedoms if they believe it's going to prevent this from happening again. But you saw, they said what they did after the Alfred P. Muir Federal Building would prevent, these kinds of things from happening again. Well, it didn't, and whatever they do now is not going to prevent it from happening again either. It's an attack upon the Constitution. It's an attack upon freedom. It's an attack upon freedom for all people all over the world. And you watch, you'll see that I'm absolutely correct in this. That's exactly what's going to happen. And anybody who stands up for freedom and opposes the measures that they're going to take because of what happened this morning is going to be demonized, ostracized, attacked, vilified, maybe arrested and put away forever.
Was in the plane. As we understand, there were no ground casualties. It's a very rural, remote area, a reclaimed strip mine area behind what was in the late 60s and early 70s a recreation area called Indian Lake.
All right, that's Greg Geis, photographer from Channel 9, talking to us about the plane crash, some information he's been able to get a hold of in Pennsylvania. Still fire here at the Pentagon. We're seeing some smoke coming up. The fire seems to be trapped underneath the roof of the Pentagon, between the ceiling and the roof, and I think even saw a little bit of flame coming through the roof. Yep, we're starting to see some flames come through the roof toward the courtyard side. The plane crash is where the scarring is, all that black sooted area. The plane crash was on that side, and where the gaping hole is, that's where the plane crash occurred. But the fire has traveled into the building, and now coming up through the roof. It's been trapped behind walls, between the ceiling and the roof line, and following pipe chases that run through this.
Did you notice, folks, that the plane that hit the Pentagon on the side where there were the most lower-ranking military personnel and civilians working? Not one person of flag rank or general rank or the major military officers who work in the Pentagon have offices on the side that was hit. And of course, like I said, folks, if I had access to that information when I was a member of the Office of Naval Intelligence on the staff of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, then everybody in that building who is anybody also had access to that material.
That's George Washington going to New York and heading to the area of the Chesapeake Bay to provide air defense and support with medical needs.
The World Trade Center is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Both towers collapsed after terrorists slammed planes into the buildings.
Okay.
What's scary is we haven't heard any word of casualties from New York, although...
No, we are certain that there may be many.
Yeah.
All right, folks, stop calling on the phone. Give me a break. Today is Tuesday, September 11th. We're trying to find any significance. Wednesday, September 12th, is when the courts were supposed to hand down sentencing for the terrorist responsible for the 1998 bombings in Tanzania. Today, I know, is Tuesday, September 11th. Thank you. Now, let other calls come through to the newsroom, please. Thank you.
Hundreds of people rushed to Manhattan hospitals today to give blood, and officials called in every available surgeon and nurse to deal with the victims of the World Trade Center. The mayor has said, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani has said, the death toll, casualty toll is going to be, in his words, horrendous.
Hospitals in New Jersey and Connecticut are on alert for casualties from New York City. They say you can hear ambulances screaming down major thoroughfares across the city as victims were transported to St. Vincent's Catholic Medical Center in Lower Manhattan. All non-emergency patients have been discharged from the hospital so they can have enough beds to take in the more seriously injured.
We have a reaction now from United Nations General Secretary Kofi Annan.
We are all traumatized by this terrible tragedy. We do not yet know how many people have been killed or injured, but inevitably the number will be high. Our first thoughts and prayers must be for them and for their families. I wish to express my profound condolences to them and to the people and government of the United States. There can be no doubt that these attacks are deliberate acts of terrorism, carefully planned and coordinated, and as such, I condemn them utterly. Terrorism must be fought resolutely wherever it appears. In such moments, cool and reasoned judgment are more essential than ever. We do not know yet who is behind these acts or what objective they hope to achieve. What we do know is that no just cause can be advanced by terror.
That was UN Secretary General Kofi Annan speaking about the terrorist attacks today. The United Nations building is one of the buildings in New York that has been evacuated as well.
Do you get the feeling, seriously, that you're going to wake up any minute and say this was the worst?
I'm curious, folks. Is there anybody out there who really believes that those airplanes crashing into the upper quarter of the two World Trade Center towers caused both of those buildings to collapse? Is anybody out there who really believes that? If you do, I'd like to hear your argument in defense of that. And don't worry, I'm not gonna jump on you. If you believe that and you can put up an argument that supports that position, I'd like to hear from you. I really don't believe that there's anybody who could honestly make that kind of claim. But there may be somebody out there, and you may have a legitimate reason for believing that. So if you do believe it, I'd like for you to call 520-333-4578. I think the whole nation is in shock. Nobody is calling to give their comments or feelings about what has happened, because I think it's pretty obvious the way most people feel. I think everybody has just been stabbed right through the heart, including me. I think that this nation is probably, by and large, in shock. I think most people are riveted to their television sets or their radios. I think they are just absolutely in a state of shock. This morning when all this happened, I was asleep and somebody called me. And it was like 5 o'clock this morning. And the first thing that I said is, why are you calling me at 5 o'clock in the morning? Which is the first thing I'm always going to say. And then he told me why. And I've always told you, if it's an emergency, you can call me anytime. 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 noon. I don't care what time it is. If it's an emergency, something like this is happening, I want you to call me. But remember, if you call me at times that you shouldn't be calling me, I'm always going to ask why. The first thing out of my mouth is always going to be, why are you calling me at this time? And then if you tell me this an emergency and something like this is going on, I'm going to thank you profoundly. And that's exactly what I did. And went directly to the television set to find out what was going on. And I was in shock. Literally, even though I knew that this was going to happen, even though I had predicted it for years, that I was still and still am shocked by it, terribly hurt by it, as I know that all of you listening are. I, above most people, way beyond the imagination of most people, I understand what the consequences of this are going to be, and I don't think most people in this country or even around the world understand that, or have even an inkling of what it is, beyond the fact that they know nothing is ever going to be the same. Things are going to change drastically. They know that, but they don't know how much. They don't really understand or know the effect, when that's been the whole purpose of why I have been trying to convince everybody to understand that these things were coming, because I know the goals of the traitors in Washington, D.C. that want to bring about world government. I know the goals, and not just here, but around the world. It's a cabal of people who are interlocked through secret societies and organizations all over the world who are bringing about this one world government, this new world order. And I know what their plans are. You see, none of this is secret. It's not secret. They don't make any secret of it. It's all out in the open. It's all been published. It's all written down. Anybody can get their hands on it, and you can read it. And I've read it to you over the air. I've given you the sources. I've told you what's coming. They've told us what's coming out of their own mouths. And I saw the official plan that's top secret. It's held by the United States government to allow it to come about. Did you know that Bolshevik, what does that mean? Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, Bill. Calling from Vermont. I live a couple miles from a nuclear power plant where they said that that's a little bit heightened security there. But I wanted to ask, I wonder about this plane that supposedly that they were saying just crashed and not giving us any more information. If it was on its way to Camp David or Washington or wherever, is it possible that our own government had to shoot it down?
I don't know if the plane was shot down or what. All we know is that it crashed, and it crashed in a line. In other words, if it had continued going in the direction that it was traveling, it would have flown over or crashed into Camp David. That's all we know.
And we know from the caller that was on board with the cell phone that it was hijacked.
Yeah.
Now, if the government had to shoot down an airline of people to prevent it from killing more people
it's exactly
in a
what
populated area, would they tell us that they had to do that?
I don't know whether they would tell us or not, but it's exactly what they should do.
Right.
You cannot give in to terrorists.
Right.
Even if they're holding hostage, you can't do that. If you do that, then it gives every terrorist in the world a green light to do whatever they want to do.
And what happened to
but I don't believe that plane was shot down.
I would hope not, but anyways, there was reports. Fox News reported that the State Department and possibly the Supreme Court building had some kind of explosions. I haven't heard any more about those.
No, there were no explosions in Washington D.C. other than at the Pentagon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's the kind of rumors I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There were no explosions, no buildings blown up, nothing happened in Washington D.C. except a plane crashed into the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
It's just like Oklahoma and the Flight 800. We're not going to know this. Well, at least the mainstream is not going to give us the real story about this.
No, they're not, and they never will. For instance, you're going to hear from now on that the two planes that crashed into the top of the World Trade Center towers are what caused the buildings to collapse, and that's a bull-faced bare lie.
They can't. They can't hold it. If it's that obvious, they're going to have to maybe make up a story about a truck bomb.
Well, they may make up a story, they may not. I think they're going to blame it on those planes, and they're going to ignore all accusations otherwise, or testimony of experts, just like they did with the Oklahoma City Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. So many explosive experts and people who know about explosives and demolition, people who bring down buildings all the time, have testified and written papers and books and all kinds of stuff saying that that truck full of fertilizer parked in front of the building could not possibly have done the damage that they claim that it did.
Right, and the support column that was nearest to the truck was not broken, where these others farther away were.
But it's reinforced.
We were never shown the videos.
It's reinforced concrete. It's a hard target. It takes shaped charges to snap a reinforced concrete pillar. You can't do it even with high explosives parked out on the street. It can't happen.
I've got the video by General Parton explaining all about that.
Yeah.
They never showed us the videos. They never showed us pictures of Vincent Foster, or at least not the real ones, anything. They never, and that's what we got to demand, is more information.
Yeah, well, you can demand all you want. They're not going to give it to you. They're just not going to give it to you.
They can't. They can't admit that they made age. They can't admit a whole lot of stuff, right?
No, they can't.
All right, Bill, I'll let you go. Thanks.
All right, thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. We'll take anybody that wants to call anytime, and we'll take your call immediately.
This is a vicious attack upon New York. It's an attack upon America. It's an attack upon the whole concept of freedom and our way of life. And we cannot let these attacks succeed. First step has to be to make sure we do everything in our power to protect the people and to save the lives of those whose lives are still at risk, and to help those who have been injured. And I want to commend the mayor, and I want to thank my colleagues from Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and the federal government have all offered and made ready support to help us deal with this ongoing crisis. The people of New York. Can you describe the scene?
Yeah, folks, and it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. Go give blood right now. Please go give blood right now. Wherever you're at, go give blood. That blood can be shipped to the people that need it, and they're going to need a lot more blood than anybody can imagine.
Gaping hole all the way on the top of it. We could see people jump.
A lot of the area around the Capitol has been closed off.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me sort of recap what's happened so that the rumors won't be flying. I know that there are other broadcasts that are making all kinds of outlandish statements. I just went and listened to a few of them. And I can tell you most of what you're hearing on other radio broadcasts, on shortwave, and people like Alex Jones and others is total baloney. Here's what's happened, and this is all that's happened. There were a number of planes hijacked this morning. The number of planes, depending on who you listen to, is between 4 and 8. We know 4 for sure. If there were 8, nobody has accounted for the other 4. If there were 6, nobody's accounted for the other 2. If there was 5, nobody's accounted for the other 1. We do know that there were 4 for sure, and that's all we know for sure. 2 of them crashed into the upper 1/4 of each of the twin towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. One of them crashed into the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C. Another one crashed in Pennsylvania in an area where it was used to be a recreation park but was closed. And it appeared that it was headed for Camp David. Maybe not. Maybe its flight path would just carry it over Camp David, and maybe it was really headed for somewhere else. Nobody knows. We know that there were tremendous explosions on the lower floors of the 2 twin towers of the World Trade Center buildings that brought those 2 buildings down. They did not come down as a result of the planes crashing into them. Now, this is a fact, and you can check with architects who design skyscrapers. Skyscrapers stick up high into the air. There is always the possibility that an aircraft could crash into them, and it has happened on many occasions in the past. For instance, an Air Force bomber crashed into a skyscraper and didn't cause it to fall. Planes have crashed into skyscrapers over the years, folks. None of them have ever fallen. They're built understanding that an airplane could crash into the building, and the structure is designed to withstand such a crash so that the damage will be confined to that area. Those planes crashing into those buildings did not cause those buildings to collapse. They're what we call hard targets in the military. Steel-reinforced concrete buildings with strong structural members that can withstand hurricane winds. They can withstand an airplane crash. They can withstand all kinds of things. And the only thing that can bring them down is shaped charges placed upon the main structural members in order to shatter and cut those reinforced concrete pillars and allow the building to collapse. This is what we know. We don't know who orchestrated this attack. We don't know who's going to be ultimately punished for it. We do know that all of the government buildings in Washington, D.C. were evacuated. The government of the United States literally went underground to their hard sites and command centers that they put in place many years ago, supposedly to protect against nuclear or atomic attack. And that's where the president either is or is going at this time. Good evening, you're on the air. Or I should say good morning or good afternoon. Here it's still morning.
Oh, here it's still morning? Okay, here I got 1455. I'm calling from New York State again.
Okay.
Somewhere around Long Island. All right, I'm going to report this. For the past, I'd say, 15 minutes or so, I've been hearing jets flying overhead. 3 so far. One, I think, about 10 minutes ago, and then all of a sudden I heard another one when I was and then I heard another one just now. And when I heard this third one, I jumped up right away and went to take a look. And and it's like it almost flew, like when you hear something passing through, it's like it disappeared so quickly. So it had to be a military jet. That wouldn't be a passenger jet, right?
The only planes in the sky anywhere over the United States right now are military planes. And
I'm hearing them, but they sound more westward, they sound more west of me anyway. They sound like they're...
The only planes in the air anywhere over the United States right now are military planes. Any other plane that's in the air is going to be shot down, I can guarantee you.
So these sickos, they're actually going to try to go for it, huh?
What sickos?
The communists. I'm talking about these globalists.
Yeah.
Those sickos.
Yeah.
What sickos would you think I'm talking about?
Well, I don't know until you tell me. I don't assume.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I don't assume anything.
Oh, no, that's true.
It's up to the communicator to communicate.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
It's not up to me to interpret what I might think you mean.
No,
because
that's true.
That's how we all get in trouble.
Well, since you were talking about them, I heard somebody call up your show say that some governor or something said America's changed forever. Who did he say that was?
Hey, everybody on television has been saying it. The reporters have been saying it. Admiral Stansfield Turner said it. Major Rudy Giuliani said it. Everybody is saying it.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Giuliani, what is Giuliani connected with? I know he got funds from Kissinger. What is he connected with? Because I'm calling from the New York area.
I have no idea. I don't live in New York, and he's never been a national figure, so I haven't done any research on him.
Right, but he's definitely with them, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know he's tied in with Kissinger and Goldman Sachs. That I do know, because they funded his campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm still trying to see if maybe next time if something passes through, I can maybe get the binoculars and take a look at it.
Okay.
But it's probably definitely military jets.
Yes.
Yeah,
anything else that appears in the air. See, all planes are grounded. Any plane that is found in the air right now will be ordered to land immediately. If they don't, they'll shoot it down.
They'll shoot it down?
They'll shoot it down.
Uh-huh. All right, how long will they... do you have any inside information as far as how long this would go on?
No.
No.
I have no idea.
You going to be on the air tonight?
I'll be on the air as long as it takes.
All right, if they do declare martial law, what...
They have already done it. You cannot do what they have done without a declaration of martial law. You can't
that's
ground...
true with all the planes everywhere.
You can't ground all airplanes in this country without
all over the country.
All everywhere. Every airport is closed. Every port, every seaport is closed. Every plane is grounded. The border between the United States and Canada is sealed. The border between the United States and Mexico is sealed. You can't do these things. They've deployed a regiment of United States Army troops in Washington, D.C. You can't do these things unless martial law has been declared. They have done it. They just have not told the American people.
Why do they wait this long?
You have to ask them. Probably because they don't want the American people to know, because it might cause a lot of panic. Might cause the militia to get antsy. There's lots of reasons why.
Are there any militias in the New York area, by the way?
I don't live in New York, and but I know those things, but I'm certainly not going to reveal those things.
Oh no, that's true.
Over the radio.
No, that's true, but they do exist in this area.
I'm not even going to tell you that.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's true. Maybe you shouldn't. You're right. You never know who's listening. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I will tell you, there's militia all over this country. They're prepared to fight and die for freedom if necessary.
I would too if I happen to be armed, but presently I'm not.
Well, that's because you live in New York, right? If you live somewhere else, you might be armed, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well. Why,
I don't know. I could be.
Why do you live in socialist heaven anyway? I don't even understand why people live in places where they live.
No, I'm not in New York City. I'm talking about the state.
New York is a socialist place.
The whole state?
The whole East Coast. Above Virginia probably is socialist.
What about Pennsylvania?
Yeah. You been to Pennsylvania lately?
No, I haven't.
Massachusetts?
Oh, Massachusetts, I know.
Yeah, well, New York too.
Well, New York is so stupid. They put Hillary and
Schumer, one of the biggest Marxist traitors that's ever existed.
Yeah, especially Hillary and Schumer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why are you asking me? You ought to know. New York is socialist heaven.
Yeah. Well, I might have told a fib there because I may be armed. I won't say for sure.
Well, I hope you are.
Okay, good luck. Thanks a lot. I appreciate what you're doing for the country.
Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
By the way, folks, in case you don't know it, this is the only media in the entire world that so far has told you the truth about what happened at the World Trade Center towers. Those planes did not bring those buildings down, period. And if you believe that in your wildest dreams, you got nothing, absolutely nothing between your ears. And I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Seek out some explosives experts and ask them. They'll tell you. They'll tell you. Go and talk to some architects who build skyscrapers, these huge towers that stick way up into the sky. Part of the design is the knowledge that airplanes sometimes crash into them, and they must be designed to withstand a crash into the building by the biggest planes in the sky. They're all built to withstand that. Oh, yeah, people will be killed. Yeah, the plane will go into the building. Yeah, there will be fire. Yeah, there will be flames. There will be destruction. There will be people die and killed and wounded and all that stuff, but they will not bring the building down. You got that? If you don't believe me. I'm not asking anybody to ever believe anything that I ever tell you. You go check with the people that know, and you'll find out that old Bill Cooper is telling you the truth.
Down a number of the roads around the Capitol and also evacuated many buildings. The government has, in essence, shut down today because of what's happened. Boise, Idaho, good afternoon. Go ahead, caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear stupid statements like that all over the network. The government has not shut down. The government never shuts down. The government has gone underground to its hard sites, to its atomic shelters, to its underground command posts. The government is operating to protect the members of the government, the members of Congress, the members of the executive branch, the president's cabinet. Everybody who's important is underground in case there are any more attacks. The government has not shut down. It is operating in secret underground as we speak. The government never shuts down. Even in the case where Congress won't approve the budget and they tell you the government shut down, it's a lie. The government continues to operate always. Can you imagine what would happen if the government really did shut down? Oh boy. Yeah, be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you believe. The number here is 520-333-4578. Anytime the phone rings, we will go directly to the phones. Please, folks, don't listen to rumors. Don't get all worked up and hysterical. Don't start screaming for Congress to pass laws to take our Bill of Rights away and disarm the American people, because the American people didn't have anything to do with what happened this morning. Period. We don't need any more laws. Everything that you can possibly think of in this world is already illegal. If you don't believe me, get your nose in the law books, you'll find out. There are too many laws. We need to repeal probably about 90% of all the laws that are on the books right now need to be eliminated in order to restore any kind of freedom in this country. What you're going to see is either going to make you happy if you're an emotional fool, and in that case it will make you a slave also, or it will make you cry if you love freedom. What's going to come out of this is a severe redefinition of the word freedom.
Eliminate such activity that happened today, and I wish people would have listened more carefully, because we need it interiorly. We don't need a national or missile defense system at some point in time, perhaps. But right now, we need to concentrate on these people flying airplanes, driving cars, trucks, ships. And I thank you so much, C-SPAN, for your...
See what I mean, folks? Here's a woman screaming for more laws to control airplanes, people who drive cars and trucks and ships. If it was up to her, you'd have a roadblock every 2 miles on every highway in this country. Your car would be searched. You would be searched. You would have to have a certificate to be able to travel. Just listen to some of these things, and you'll know exactly why I'm able to tell you what's going to happen.
Goes out to all of you, and I just hope things get better and not worse.
Okay, thanks for the call. Salt Lake City, Utah, your reaction.
My reaction is that I believe that this should be a wake-up call here for the United States, that we are no longer safe because we are so far away from everyone else, and that if we know...
Hello.
Hello, Bill?
You're on the air.
Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah,
Good as can be, anyway.
I hear that. Yeah, I just tuned into you. I understand what you say happened to the World Trade Center building. How about the Pentagon? The same thing? Or?
A plane crashed into the Pentagon. That's all we know about it.
Oh, that wasn't... All right. Okay, Bill, thanks.
The Pentagon didn't collapse.
No, it didn't.
But that doesn't mean there wasn't any explosives. We don't know that. We just know a plane crashed into it. We know absolutely that there were explosions that brought the Twin Tower World Trade Center buildings down because people heard the explosions.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, I have the BBC.
Yeah.
And I was watching the footage on there, and I could swear that it looked like the building exploded.
It did. Absolutely did. Those planes did not cause that.
Good job, Bill.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578 is the number. I want to remind you that we are broadcasting worldwide on WBCQ The Planet. WBCQ The Planet. About 2 hours before I came on the air, I think it was about 2 hours before I came on the air, Alan Weiner, the owner of WBCQ, or one of the owners, called me, and he's certainly in charge, I can tell you that, called me and said that he wanted me to come on. And I at the time, I couldn't do it right then because I was very much involved with the I'm sorry, folks. My attention was distracted for just a second. I was very much involved with talking to Patriot leaders across the country, to militia commanders, to my superiors, officers in the Second Continental Army of the Republic, trying to make sure that all of our people understood that they could be attacked imminently by the press and or by the government and law enforcement. And we were occupied in trying to get those people to positions of safety with their families and get the militia dispersed and underground so that any attack would be futile, and have them placed on a readiness status so that if the government, because of this, something that the American people have not even had any part in, become even more tyrannical than they have, or more despotic than they have against the American people, that the militia will be in a position to resist with the force of arms if necessary. So that should be a warning to those in government: don't mess with American patriots. We got fed up with you a long, long time ago. We had nothing, absolutely nothing to do. No, none of the American people had anything to do with what happened this morning in New York and in Washington, D.C. So if you're going to come against us, be forewarned that we're not going to start anything. But if you want to start something, we will not only defend ourselves, but we will actively, we will take that as a declaration of war, and that will begin the battle to restore constitutional Republican government. So if you're in government and you're listening to this broadcast, you can take that as an official warning from the commanding general of the Second Continental Army of the Republic. We got sick of what you people were doing a long, long time ago, and we're not going to allow you to institute even more tyranny and more despotism and oppress the American people because of something that somebody that has nothing to do with the American people did in order to give you an excuse to do that. So, take it any way you want. I mean it wholeheartedly. It is the exact admonition that I was given earlier today from my commanding general. So there you have it. You want to get despotic? Find out who did this and punish them. You want to punish the American people? We'll push back. We'll punish back.
Went through, and then of course had to find alternative routes to get home and get our kids from school.
Senator Hagel, and you've made the reference as well, a day in infamy, has said that this is worse than Pearl Harbor. As you look at what the magnitude of what's happened today, how are we going to look back on September the 11th?
It's similar to Pearl Harbor, but in some regards it's more problematic. One, it's worse than Pearl Harbor in that this is actually our homeland. At that time, Pearl Harbor in Hawaii was a territory, and that was a strike. And as awful as it was, those were on military facilities, not civilians. And what makes this much more difficult is we knew that was Imperial Japan. That got us into war against the Axis nations in World War II. This situation, sure, there may be sponsorship and harboring of these terrorist organizations in various countries, but it's not as clear an enemy as we had in World War II. So it's going to be there'll be a greater amount of effort to have the intelligence to who was involved, who financed it, who coordinated and masterminded these terrorist suicide bombings. And plus, we don't have the
Former Republican Senator George Allen of Virginia, now a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, joining us from his home near Fort Belvoir, which is in Fairfax County, Virginia. Thank you, Senator, for being with us.
Did you hear the hypocrisy in his little talk? Pearl Harbor wasn't a state, therefore we weren't hit at home. It was just a territory, and the Japanese struck military targets, not civilian targets. He didn't say anything about our firebombing of Dresden, in which we killed approximately 150,000 old men, women, and children who were not participants in the war on the side of Germany, or our bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which were the two largest Christian communities in Japan, And most of the people killed in those cities were old men, women, and children who were not soldiers fighting in the war. And in Hiroshima, there was an American prisoner of war camp, and a lot of those American prisoners of war were also killed by that atomic bomb. I'm just tired of the hypocrisy. I'm not saying that these bombers were correct in what they did by flying their planes into these targets or by blowing up the 2 World Trade Center towers. I'm just telling you that the hypocrisy just makes me sick. It seems that if we want to do something terrible, we can do it, and it's justified because we're the United States of America. But if anybody else does it, all of a sudden, it's a terrible thing because they killed civilians. I am sick of that kind of hypocrisy. Actually, our hypocrisy is what justifies these other people in their actions that they do, because they can see our hypocrisy. They can see our lies. They know what we've done. We killed probably thousands of civilians when we bombed Bosnia and when we attacked and bombed Iraq during the Gulf War. But if we do it, it's okay. And if somebody else does it, it's not. I'm telling you right now, it's never okay, no matter who does it. I am sick and tired of the lies and the hypocrisy and all of the other crap that just flies out of all of these people's mouths. And I wish it would stop. You see, you can't expect somebody else to obey the rules if we don't obey the rules. And I'm telling you right now, we've never obeyed the rules in our history. Ask a Native American sometime. How many tribes did we wipe out down to the last man, woman, and child that don't even exist on the face of this earth anymore? And it wasn't because they were scalping white people who were going across the country in their covered wagons. It was because we wanted their land. And we wanted them off the land.
Totally in agreement that this should be a global effort, not just the United States, but all of the free countries, and this just has to be stopped. This can't be let to continue.
Thanks for the call. Joining us on the line, Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat from Florida, a member of the Armed Services Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, where are you right now?
I'm with Senator Rockefeller. We are in Washington. We are waiting instructions by the Capitol Police where we should go.
Uh-oh. Here comes the Rockefeller report.
We are resolved, just as your previous caller said, that the perpetrators will be punished, and the word will clearly go forth that anyone in a terrorist activity will not be able to succeed and get away with it if their intentions are against the Western world.
Will you be going to a secure area?
I am not sure. I can't answer that right now. The leadership of the Congress has already been taken to an undisclosed location as our national defense apparatus is operating according to the book. They planned for all of this, and the American people should understand that it is well under control. The command and control system in the United States is operating, and it's operating very well.
Did you ever think we would see this day?
See, folks, I was telling you the truth. I know a lot of you didn't believe me. How does he know? Been there, done that.
Clearly kudos in the past to our intelligence apparatus, because every day that we have not known of a terrorist act is a day that the intelligence apparatus has worked. But today, clearly, it did not work. And we will repair that, and in large part, we will repair that by beefing up the human intelligence around the globe.
As you well know, there has been a lot of debate with the new Bush administration on a missile defense shield and a missile defense apparatus. Where will that go in the coming months?
Well, today is not a day to debate policy, but clearly, as a result of today, you will see the intelligence apparatus beefed up, you will see the defense apparatus beefed up, and you will see a increased activity in cooperation and sharing of intelligence information among our allies.
Senator Nelson, did you say Senator Rockefeller is right next to you?
He's not right next to me. He's in one of the other rooms.
And what have you...
Would you like me to try to go get him?
If you'd like, but I want to ask you a question before you do so. What have the two of you been talking about? What are your thoughts?
Well,
on a personal level.
On a personal level, we were on the west front of the Capitol in a leadership meeting with Senator Daschle when news that the Pentagon had been hit. We looked out the west front overlooking the mall and saw the smoke rising from the direction of the Pentagon, and then were told to evacuate the Capitol. And then the police were shouting, the Capitol Police, get out of the Capitol right now, immediately. And so Senator Rockefeller and I grouped up together and moved from beyond the Capitol. Now, in the meantime, by the way, I called on a cell phone to get my office to evacuate and told them to get word to my wife because she is in our apartment, which overlooks the Pentagon, and to tell her to get to the underground garage. Subsequently, I have found out indirectly from her, and she's fine, that she heard the plane and heard the explosion in the Pentagon.
Senator Nelson, thanks very much. If you want to walk down the hall, we'll talk to Senator Rockefeller in a moment.
I'll have to go find him.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
Thanks very much for spending a couple of minutes with us. As we put Senator Nelson on hold, we'll continue with your phone calls. Next is Akron, Ohio. Go ahead, please.
Yes, this is Daddy Duke. Yeah, I was calling to let you know that my heart goes out to the victims and their family, and the United States should get right down to the bottom of this because we can't go around letting other people push around on us. We got to handle our business and do what's necessary.
Thanks for the call. Salt Lake City, good afternoon.
Yes, hi. First of all, I'd like to express my sympathies to the families and all the victims in Washington, D.C. and New York City. I've never been to those cities, but I can't tear myself away from the TV. I'd like to urge all Americans to get out their flags, hang them up, keep them hanging. Let all the other countries know that we're united and that a small...
Yeah, right. You know, let's all put up a flag, and that's going to solve everything. Come on. Give me a break. Where did these people come from? What is this? I think people do that and say that kind of thing. I think she's saying it because somehow she feels so helpless that she thinks that that's going to make her feel better if she does something, and so she wants everybody to put out a flag. Nothing wrong with that. If it makes everybody feel good, fine. But it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to bring anybody back to life. All it's going to do is, there's going to be flags flying all over the country. And I'm telling you right now, if they're flying, they should be flying at half-mast. Folks, if you want to know who did this, if you really want to know who did this, nobody in this entire world would ever do such a thing unless it would improve their condition or give them an upper hand or bring them up in some way and benefit them. If you can find out who benefits from this, who's raised up by this, who has a propaganda advantage by this, who feels, better about themselves against their enemies by this, whatever, if you can find out who benefits, then you know who did it. Nobody in the world, no terrorist organization, no nation, nobody would ever do anything like this unless they believed in their heart and in their organization that they will benefit from it. If you can find out who benefits from this, then you know who did it.
Pennsylvania, which is south of Pittsburgh. Senator Jay Rockefeller is familiar with that area of western Pennsylvania. He's joining us on the line, Democrat from West Virginia. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Where were you this morning?
I was at a Democratic leadership meeting because of...
Hello, you're on the air.
Bill.
Yeah.
How you doing? Art from Connecticut.
Good.
Friends of mine from New York all called me, and they happen to be brother firefighters there that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Who were on the scene almost immediately.
They lost a lot of...
And unfortunately, a lot of their comrades are probably gone in this.
Yes.
Police and fire rescue people and stuff,
yes.
And that's part of the game. That's what they do.
Quite a lot of them, as a matter of fact.
And, you don't like it and you hate to hear about it, but that's what they do for a living. That's what they're committed to. So
yeah.
It's like you and I in the war. You do what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
Anyways, all of a sudden I'm hearing the knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah.
As I think you might or may not have touched on because I wasn't listening to everything you had said prior.
Oh yeah, even when it's not on the air, it's in my earphones. I'm listening all the time.
The knee jerk. We got to do something about this.
Yeah, we got to fly a flag.
We got to start. And I'm saying to people, watch and see if you don't start having to hear people saying, "Well, we'll give up something for something."
Yeah.
The same old Hegelian dialectic.
You're absolutely correct.
That.
And you've been hearing them tell us. They're telling us.
And you not just yourself. I've been listening to you since the first day everyone on the air, and I fully agree. After I do my research with you, that this is what it always happens.
Yeah.
Give you a problem, and then you scream and yell out enough, we'll solve the problem. But at what cost?
Yep, that's right.
The cost is going to be some of your freedom.
The cost is...
I told my wife, I called me, she says, how long before the roadblocks start? I said, well, you're a little premature, but don't put that too far on the back burner.
No, she's not premature. There are already roadblocks up there.
Oh, they do that now with the
all over
traffic stops
all over the... No, they're up right now. All over the country there's roadblocks.
Oh, yeah, you can't... I don't imagine you can do a lot of flying around right now.
No, I'm not talking about flying. I'm talking
about in trucks or whatever.
Talking about roadblocks.
Oh, sure.
There are roadblocks on the highways all over the country.
When I heard that the air traffic is grounded
mm-hmm.
and that harbors are now sealed up,
yep,
especially New York, that port's sealed up, and now they have military ships at the ready at the New York seaport and every place else, Seattle and every place. Well, that's martial law, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, we're under martial law.
They can scream and yell. Nobody's going to say it is because no one will even recognize it.
Well, you notice the president has not come on the air and made any kind of a statement or tried to alleviate the fears of the American people, because if he does, he has to tell the truth, and he has to tell them that he's issued a declaration of martial law. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do that for a lot of reasons.
His one statement you made was, if at best, wishy-washy to begin with.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything of any great something that you would put down in the history books.
Nope.
But we'll have to see what comes, what he says later on, and I'm more interested to see what the Congress people start spouting.
Oh, they'll be introducing all kinds of laws and bills and stuff and things that they'll start taking freedoms away real quick.
And I'm also looking, as you just mentioned, to see down the road who comes up the winner in this. And I'm not talking about the militarily, because that's not even the point.
Yeah. Whoever benefits,
either politically or economically.
Yeah. Whoever benefits,
somebody's going to come up with a jackpot.
Whoever benefits from this is the culprit.
And considering that most of the world's business revolves around that area, I'm interested to see what businesses all of a sudden become very, very well-to-do out of this for some reason. And it might lead you to find out, it's the old follow the money deal.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm very surprised. I see Mr. Weiner let you on for all the time you want, and I appreciate that. I thank him for that. And I just happened to turn the station on, not expecting to find you of all people.
Well,
I thought it would be later tonight as usual.
He didn't let me on. I didn't ask to be on. He called me.
I'm sure he told you to get on.
And asked me to get on. And,
well, I'd rather have you there than some of these talking heads, because I'm listening to Brokaw, Jennings, and them, and I got to turn them off. I just can't. I'm not going to become addicted like the OJ thing.
I know what you mean. It gives you kind of a nauseous feeling, doesn't it?
I get a little. I have to take a Tums or something after I watch him for 5 minutes.
Especially Ted Koppel. I can't even stand to look at
Ted Koppel's a papa's ass to begin with, and
yep, you're right.
And Peter Jennings and Brokaw are no better.
Ted Koppel,
they're more interested in how they are perceived to be rather than what's really going on.
Ted Koppel is the guy that if he had attended my high school, he would have been the kid most likely to get his ass kicked.
Every day.
Every day, that's right.
Well, like every recess or every lunch period.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you, Bill, and keep up the good work.
You're welcome. Thank
you,
calling.
my friend.
Once again, the number is 520-333-4578. Anytime you call, we will immediately go to the phones, no matter what we're listening to, because everything from here on out is going to be repetition. Now, if you haven't figured that out yet, just keep watching your TV. What you're going to see is a repetition of everything that happened this morning. They're going to be feeding you information that's going to make you emotional, that's going to tend to brainwash you, to be able to understand that things are never going to be the same again, and get you all worked up in order to understand, number one, that things are never going to be the same again. Number two, to accept it. Number three, to ask for it. Number 4, never complain about it when they take your freedoms away. That's what the media is going to be concentrating on for the next 3 months. Good evening, you're on the air. Or I should say good afternoon. I'm so used to saying good evening because of our evening broadcast. I hope you'll forgive me for that.
Hey, Bill. Been listening for years. First thing I did when I heard about it was I ran to your webpage, saw that you were on the radio, been listening all day long. You're right. You called this many years ago. And it never ceases to amaze me how their plan sort of plays itself out.
Yeah.
You know, we all knew something big like this was going to happen. You've been saying it for years. I have recordings of your shows going back several years. I've played them for people, and here we go.
Yep. And
it's very, very sad. It's just awful. These people care nothing about human life. They just care about power.
That's true. Very true.
That's what it's about. Well, keep up the good work, Bill.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
You know, and you might want to call Alan Weiner and thank him for doing this.
I will do this. This is fabulous. I can think of no one better to sort of follow this along with than you, sir.
Well, it's what Alan said this morning. When he called me, he says, "Bill, you predicted this a long time ago." He says,
Yep.
"You're the one." He said, "I want you on the air." And
I agree.
He said, "When you're ready, just call us and we'll put you on immediately." And I couldn't do it right then and there because I was involved with my militia duties and my responsibilities to the country and to other patriot leaders. And once that was taken care of, then I called and they put me on the air immediately.
Alan's done a great service.
Alan's done a service way beyond what most people even suspect that he has done, because I'm telling you right now, freedom of speech in this country does not exist except on WBCQ.
I agree. It's a terrible day for our country.
Yep.
It is.
Thanks for calling. 520-333-4578. If you'd like to call and give your comments or opinions on what's going on, we'll go right to the phone immediately. Good evening, or good afternoon. I keep doing that.
Hi, Bill. Any UPS going?
Yeah, you know, you're on a worldwide broadcast. All over the world, Norman.
Oh, really?
This is my UPS driver, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world. This is Norman. No, I don't have anything.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Hey, do you have any opinions on what's going on this morning? Now's your chance to tell the whole world.
I just think it's a cowardly act.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, sure do. It's sad. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Norman.
Take care.
You too. That's my friendly UPS driver who always calls, and you see, he doesn't have to do that. He calls to find out if I got anything to go so he can make sure that he's here, and there's nothing to go today, because there would have been, but I've been doing my duty since 5 o'clock this morning and haven't done any UPS things. So that was Norman. You all got to hear from Norman. And he's a great guy. He's been our UPS driver for years. And I mean literally years and years. Long time. And he's wonderful. So there you go. I'm sure he was shocked to hear that he was on worldwide radio. But he'll have a story to tell to his family when he gets home tonight. 520-333-4578 is the number. If you want to call, the minute that we see the phone is ringing, we will go directly to the phone, no matter who you are, where you are, what you want to say. Just keep your comments confined to what happened this morning. You can do one of two things. You can tell us how you feel about it and what you think about it, or you can report to us something that maybe the listening audience should know, but has not heard from me or from anyone else. And that will be appreciated. Will not accept rumors, will not accept you telling me what you got in an email or read on the internet or got from some fax that somebody sent you. That's absolutely a verboten, which is German for forbidden. It's not allowed on this broadcast. Good afternoon. I finally got it right. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Bill. I was surprised to see you on this afternoon.
I've been on for, it's almost 3 hours now.
Yeah, well, welcome to the socialist state of New York, the other end of New York. I talked to you before a few times, and I just wanted to say that it's obviously a well-coordinated situation when you can have 4 planes